In these days, it is hardly necessary to try and prove in any way that there is an existence after death. The spiritualists have done this to the evident satisfaction of men like Sir Oliver Lodge and Professor Lombroso. Memory, character, and capacity survive the bodily change called death. In fact, the day after death, a man is just the same man as he was the day before, having still the same thoughts and passions, memories and desires. The subject is one of intense interest, naturally, as one day in the future, each one of us must pass the great threshold dividing the invisible world from the visible, and we cannot but feel that if by any means we could know something about the unknown country on the other side, death would be easier to face, would perhaps be shorn of most of its terror and sorrow. Now, it is just on this very point that information is available, and as evolution continues, more and more precise knowledge of the other worlds will come into our hands, for the invisible will not always be invisible, is in fact already part of the visible for some of the more advanced members of the race, as also, we must add, with some of the less advanced in a primitive and undeveloped way. Five windows we have in our house of the body, by which we may look out upon the wonderful world. But if we had one more, what further vistas would open before us? The ancient proverb states that a man can be frighted out of his 7 senses, and today the air is very full of talk about a 6th sense. The 6th and the 7th senses, when by the age-long process of evolution they shall unfold in humanity at large, will bring the other worlds into his waking consciousness, making for him one long unbroken memory, unpunctuated by nights of seeming blankness, and destroying for him for evermore the great illusion called death. For the other worlds are all around us, by reason of their subtlety permeating each other in point of space exactly where we are now. By the help of the seers, who have recorded their observations with the accuracy and patience of true scientific research, let us map out a little the country awaiting us on the other side. To begin with, it will not be an entirely unknown country to most of us, for we are already familiar with it by journeyings at night. Where do we go when we sleep? We are not asleep. Consciousness can never become its opposite, unconsciousness. Our bodies assume that appearance because we are no longer there. We are then in the world that we live in after death, and often meet again because we are temporarily in the same condition, those whom we falsely call the dead. There are no dead. There is no death, only an ever-increasing and expanding life, and those who are separated from us by passing on are still with us when the night is here, and we are free of the house of the body. Sometimes we bring back cloudy, vague remembrances and call them dreams. When the hour strikes that shall call a man home from the schoolhouse of God's universe, a peculiar psychological experience is always his. The events of his past life come up before his vision in due order and sequence. All sorts of long-forgotten happenings creep out of the dark, and the long chain of events in all their due significance shine out in true proportion. Quitting the arena of the world's activities, the soul turns on the threshold and beholds the chapter of life now closing, and in that rapid survey understands more clearly all that life was meant to teach him, all that the one actor would fain have done through him. Religious systems have always inculcated that quiet prayer and loving aspiration should be the endeavour of those who watch beside the bedside of the dying. And rightly so, for that solemn moment should never be disturbed by what is seen to be, when we understand, surely selfish grief. Why should we grieve? Mors janua vitae est, and verily it is so. For life on the other side is so much freer, so much wider, so much more vivid, and one of the first sensations of those newly passed over is often a feeling of intense relief and lightness. Tied to an aching, ailing body, we think we are tired and ill, but it is only our bodies. We are never tired, never ill, never old. Only the garment of the body suffers those things when injured or wearing out. Remember that a man is the same man the day after death as the day before, with the same thoughts, the same desires. If he died full of sensual craving, those desires will still be present with him, heightened and not lessened, because the feelings are now working through subtler and more responsive media than the physical organs. But with a physical body, he will have lost the instrument of gratification. There burns, therefore, within him the terrible cravings of unsatisfied desire, and seers, observing this, have not inaptly likened this state to burning in flames of hell. There is no eternal hell in all God's universe. That is a nightmare born in the West from the loss of the great truth of reincarnation. But there is a state that is more properly described by the Roman Catholics' idea of purgatory, the place of purification, and fire has always been held as its symbol.